Hello, this is Joshua with Gongs Unlimited and an assembly tutorial on the Satellite of Love gong stand, which holds a gong from 22 inches to 26 inches. The Satellite of Love stand is a standard traditional cymbal boom stand with an additional adapter to hold a gong. So we will start from the bottom up with the tripod of the boom stand, which just opens its legs up like a moon lander, and then tighten the wing bolt on the back side to lock in those legs. And then from there, and you can, with that bolt loose, slide this all the way down for max stability, or depending on size, weight of gong, move this up for space, footprint space. And I'm gonna put it down pretty low. So if you are hanging a large or heavy gong, you'll wanna put the feet out as far as you can. And I'll bring that to the back. And I'll reference this a couple times, but one thing that's very important when using the Satellite of Love stand, which has the 3 feet, you want the front of the stand, or the front face of where your gong is going to be, to have one leg pointing straight towards the front. And then the next piece, and these assemble from large to smaller, and there's a sleeve that this will slide in with the wing bolt tightener, and on that, this is a stop point to actually adjust the orientation of the stand from here, but the height that this part telescopes from the base up. The bottom of this clamp, and this clamp is pretty much that elevation holder. There's a bump on the bottom of the clamp, on the side where the wing bolt is. There's a bump that matches a divot or a hole, say it's a square shape, just above the bolt here. Those two line up in registration. So with this bolt still loose, I loosen that holder lock, and I put the bump inside the divot, and then adjust this to whichever height. And obviously once the stand's all together, you can adjust the height in a couple places. So those are lined up, and I will set it to there and tighten this one, and then tighten the actual clamp around the telescoping sleeve, and then to the next. And the same thing with the wing bolt. There's a bump, a square bump and a square hole. Line those up, keep that tight, and then tighten the telescoping sleeve. And that is the base height of the stand. The next piece is the arm, which will project out. And we'll first open this up, loosen that, and you'll adjust this to whatever angle you want once it's assembled, but we'll just start there. And then this rod with the textured stripes slides in to the opening here. If it's too tight, then this wing bolt is too tight. So loosen this. The wing bolt on this side clamps down onto this rod. The wing bolt on this side adjusts the rotation or the angle that this holds the boom at. Slide the rod in. I think that angle looks great. And tighten. And that tightens down. And there is a second little mini collar clamp, or a like place finder on here, that tightens with a drum key. which I actually don't have one on me. But that would be to set the same place. And the stand is designed to be mobile to take down and set up repeatedly. So that you would set this into its elevation that you want. And if you want to remember that exact spot, you would loosen that drum key, slide that clamp collar down, and then tighten it here, and that would be the place it would rest every time you use the stand. Okay, and that is a traditional cymbal boom stand. And again, you want the arm or the boom of the stand to be projecting out directly over one of the feet in the tripod. And that's for stability's sake, because you could be putting a lot of weight through a gong, and you want to counter that with a direct foot sticking out. You have this angling knuckle up here at the top. Again, there are two catch points. There's this wing bolt here, and there's also a drum key, this square-headed bolt at the top. The first is this wing, which when loose lets it fall completely at whichever angle. And then position 2, the angle that you want this, if you tighten this relatively pretty hand tight, it obviously will not fall down or up, but you can still push this up or down, and the rubber washers on the inside are what's catching. It's just held by a little bit of friction to kind of adjust it exactly where you want it. But that will not hold the weight of a gong. If you just tighten that wing bolt and put a gong on your position, it will want to fall down like that. So position this to the place that you want it with that wing, tighten that hand tight, and then once you have that positioned at the angle that you want it, you want to tighten this bolt right here. And it's set up to tighten with a drum key, because this is a cymbal boom stand. So of course it's got to have a drum head, drum oriented fastener. But tighten this down as tight as you can, and that will lock in the position that you've determined. But you can also tighten this bolt with any adjustable wrench. If you just want a small adjustable wrench, you can use a regular crescent wrench, adjustable wrench to tighten that. But tighten that top bolt down as tight as you can. And then now that locks this into the angle that you've set it. So when you put the gong onto these hooks, it will stay in place. The other half of the satellite of love is the gong adapter, which is a gong holder that adapts to the traditional cymbal stand. And the adapter kit has this gong hook adapting plate, and there will be 4 metal washers and 2 soft rubber washers that we'll place in here in a very important sequence. But first, set these down. Take the wing nut off the front point here. Remove the 2 large felt pads. We'll get back to those. And there's a plastic tapered cylinder piece here that just unthreads from the stand. And we're going to take that plastic tapered cylinder. There's a little thin washer that I'm going to leave on the stand. But I want to take this plastic piece just completely off. And we will not use this. This will be something you set aside if you're going to use it for a cymbal maybe. But for our purposes, we'll take that out and come back with the adapter mount, the 2 felt pads, and the 4 metal washers and 2 rubber washers, and then the end wing nut. So we will slide with that real thin washer that came with the boom stand in place. We'll put a larger washer over that, and then a felt pad, a metal washer, and then one of the soft rubber rings, and then our gong mount plate, and then another soft rubber washer, and then a metal washer, and then the other felt pad, and then the last metal washer. And then we'll tie it all on with the wing nut. So hold these all in place, kind of center. You want to center those metal washers with the felt. And then we will push this on here, and to start turning it, to catch the threads, you have to push in, and it'll push in pretty easily on that felt part. And then readjust and make sure everything is close to a center. And then we're just going to turn that wing nut really tight. And as it tightens, it's going to squeeze and push those felt pads pretty significantly. So go ahead and hand tighten this as tight as you can, pressing in, compressing those felt pieces, and they'll start to kind of balloon out a little bit. Get it as tight as you can, and I like to tighten it and then get the wing nut to be parallel with the gong mount, and that's just a little aesthetic choice for the gong hook. And this gong mount, if you put a lot of pressure on one side, is still always going to rotate on the rod, but it is pretty snug on there. And when we use it to hang gongs, you always want to add the gong evenly, so it balances. If you hooked the gong on one side, it'll just tip the whole mount over. And that is it. That is the Satellite of Love gong stand for gongs, 22 inches to 26 inches. And this is a 24-inch Chinese dark star. And hang it on. And that is the Satellite of Love. And from there, ideally taking the weight off with the gong not hanging, you can adjust the angle, lower or higher from here. And realign, all square. I'm going to move it down a little bit to a point here. And then you can adjust this to rotate up. And you'll find the place where it all fits the best in whatever space you're using. Satellite of Love gong stand for gongs, 22 inches to 26 inches. Thank you.